Welcome. Today we're taking apart a HP Pavilion 14M-CD series. This is the CD0003DX. It is a 14-inch 2-in-1 convertible touchscreen laptop. And to begin, we're going to need a small fills bit. This is a 1.5. I believe a 2 would work as well. So on the bottom case, we have these small Phillips head screws. These are pretty small, so I'm going to be using this 1.5, and then you're also going to need to remove these two back feet to access the screws underneath. So we will go ahead and remove the screws. Alright, so now we have these screws removed. The next step is to pop this bottom case off. I found the easiest way to get it started is just to put the little spudger in here and just pry up a little bit until that bottom case starts popping up, and you'll see the little seam here start to open up in the back part. So then all you really need to do is go along with your tool and just start popping those little snaps out. So we're going to work our way around the case. Alright, so once you have a pretty good amount of it started, you can just do what I did here and just start kind of wiggling it, and that should allow you the leverage to pop the rest of those out without having to use a tool. And then once you have it popped off, then you can remove that bottom cover, and then you'll have access to the inside. Alright, so we're going to use a small Phillips bit, a 2.0, to finish removing the parts inside here. And I always like to start with a battery to kind of de-energize the circuits inside the laptop. So we'll go ahead and remove the battery screws. And once you have those screws out, then we can just pop that battery up and off. It has a quick release connector, so you don't have to worry about pulling the connector out of the motherboard or anything. Alright, so we'll go ahead and now remove the SSD drive, which is going to be this little part here underneath the cover. So looks like it's just one screw. We'll go ahead and remove that screw. And then we're going to pull that SSD out of the slot, just like that. And then we can go ahead and fold that cover back down. Alright, and then we can repeat the same for the Wi-Fi card. We'll just pop off those antennas first, and then we can go ahead and remove the screw. And just pull the card straight out of the slot. Alright, so the little metal cover here, this usually covers the RAM. So we'll go ahead and pull the tape off the top, and also from the heatsink, and then we can go ahead and remove the little metal cover. Definitely helps to have fingernails, but if you don't, you can just kind of pry up with your fingertips until you've popped it all the way out. Just keep in mind that the metal is pretty thin, so it does have a tendency to bend if you put too much pressure on it. And now we have access to the memory stick, so we'll go ahead and spread those retainer bars and remove that memory. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to remove is the cooling fan. So it looks like we're going to have to remove this ribbon And with this type of connector, you just flip up on that little retainer and push it back down, and that will allow you to remove the ribbon. And some more tape. So we'll go ahead and remove that tape, pull it back. That'll give us access to that connector for the fan, and we'll just wiggle that out. Kind of looks like we might have to remove some more stuff before we can get to the fan. I don't know, let's see. Let's remove the 2 screws for the fan. See if that'll allow us to remove it. Now it's going to be part of the heatsink assembly, it looks like. So we'll go ahead and remove the heatsink. There's more tape. This looks like it's for the video cable. So just make sure you peel that tape back off of the video cable, which is partially secured to the heatsink for some reason. And then we'll go ahead and remove those remaining 4 heatsink screws. So I'll give it a little wiggle. It still feels like there's something attached here. There is a small ribbon underneath here that for some reason HP has decided to adhere to the bottom of the fan. So you might need to get a little bit of a tool in there to push that ribbon off of the fan. If you can get your fingers in there, you might be able to just start peeling it gently from the bottom of the fan. And then we can go ahead and remove the fan. So the piece is right here. HP has put a nice strip of adhesive so it sticks to the fan, which is just a really stupid idea. And that was what was preventing me from removing that fan. So if you plan on removing and reinstalling your fan, just keep in mind that there is some pretty tough adhesive stuck to it from the bottom. So that is how you remove the fan assembly. And when we remove the motherboard, it looks like HP has chosen to put the connector for this in-out board here on the bottom of the motherboard. So we're just going to remove the screw and kind of just free this board for now. And then once we remove the motherboard, we can unhook it. We definitely can't do it while the motherboard is in the case. So I'll just kind of free that little board for now and move on. Alright, so it looks like we can go ahead and remove the little board here on the side. Looks like it's some kind of fingerprint reader. It might have a connector on the bottom, so for now we'll just go ahead and remove the screw for that board and make sure it's free. And I'm also going to flip up on that little retainer and help that ribbon come out. So just like that, this little ribbon here that's stuck to the palm rest was kind of holding it in place, so we're going to need to release that small ribbon. And now I think we're good to go ahead and just start removing the ribbons that are here on top. So with these type of connectors, they're real easy. You just flip up on that kind of long retainer bar, remove the ribbon, and then flip it back down. For the DC jack, it's partially retained by the hinge, so we're going to leave it in place for now and just pull that connector straight out with our fingernails. And then looks like one for the webcam. This one's got a little bit of the tape, and it's also a flip up type. So we'll remove that ribbon and then flip it back down. And it looks like another simple type connector for the little speaker bar, assuming it is. Alright, so we'll just pop that out. And the video cable that was partially stuck to the heatsink. Okay, looks like the connector is on the front side. So we'll flip that up, just like the other ones, and flip it back down. So the little speaker bar here, looks like we're pretty much free. So we'll go ahead and remove it. Looks like the little cables are just kind of stuck in the channels there, and once you work that free, you'll be able to remove that speaker. Alright, we'll do one last check on the top. It looks like we've removed all of the ribbons that we can get to from up here. So we'll go ahead and remove the remaining screws on the motherboard. Okay, and the best way, okay, looks like we'll have to do the touchpad ribbon as well because it is stuck on a connector on the bottom part of the motherboard. Alright, so we'll go ahead and lift it from this side and give it a little wiggle, and then slowly turn it over and just make sure that there's nothing holding it that's going to rip once we try to remove it. And now we can finish removing the little boards that are connected. Same type of connector, just flip up that little retainer, remove the ribbon, and flip it back down. Do that for the touchpad, and then the final one here, same type. Flip it up, remove the ribbon, and then we can flip it back down. So there we have the bare motherboard, everything disconnected. So that's how you remove the motherboard. Alright, so we'll be leaving the ribbon for the touchpad with the touchpad. So we'll go ahead and stick that back on. So looking at the bottom of the palm rest, it looks like they have made the keyboard pretty much non-replaceable. The backing plate is held on by just melted plastic rivets, so that's going to be a no-go for replacement. And now I can go ahead and remove the power button as well. Just one screw for that. Touchpad looks like it is replaceable. You have 3 screws here on the top to remove the touchpad. And if you need to remove the lower bracket, looks like it's just a few screws. So that's pretty much it for the palm rest. There's nothing else we're going to take off. The keyboard is going to stay put. Touchpad's going to stay put. So it looks like if you need to replace your keyboard, you're going to replace your whole assembly. But if you need a new touchpad, it looks like it's pretty easy once you kind of get it apart. Just a few screws there. All right. Now to remove the LCD, you're going to open it up all the way. That way the hinges will clear the palm rest after we've taken these screws out. So we'll do that now. We'll go ahead and remove those hinge screws. Looks like just a couple on each side. And you just simply lift it off of the palm rest assembly. So there is the display assembly. If you need to replace your screen, you don't want to try to break this open and just replace the LCD. Buy the display assembly as a complete assembly, and it'll make your life a lot easier. If you want to try to attempt to take this apart, you're going to need a heat gun and some precision tools and a real steady hand, but it's not fun. So definitely consider buying a full assembly if you need to replace your screen. And this one we're going to leave complete. All right, so it looks like we have pretty much taken apart the palm rest assembly. There's our DC jack, accessible after you've undone the hinge on this side. So that just came out pretty easy. Looks like just a little adhesive there on the bottom. Alright, so that is how you disassemble a HP Pavilion 14M-CD003DX. And if this video helped you or you found it informative, please like and subscribe. Thank you.